decimals and percent. I can convert between fractions.
All right, so now we all should be able to convert between fractions, decimals, and percents. We may need some extra help on some of this, right?
Yes.
But for the most part, we can do this. All right, what is a fraction, a ratio, a decimal, a percent? What is cool, or what do we know about all four of those things? A fraction, a ratio, a decimal, a percent are all what, Svetlana?
Part of a whole.
Part of a whole. They're all part of a whole. Period. Number 2. Now for the next 6 main ideas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I am going to show you, or you're going to have in your notes the rules on how to convert from one form to another. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to ask you and you're going to tell me. Everybody in unison. How do you go on number 2 from a fraction to a decimal? What is the process on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
Divide.
And you see the example on that one. Okay, number 3. How or what is the process to go from a fraction to a percent? 1, 2, 3.
Divide the fraction to get a decimal, then multiply by 100.
Good. It would be great if we could all stay on at the same exact time, Tate. That would be wonderful. So you're going to divide the fraction and you're going to multiply that by
100.
number 4. What is that? And then we give you an example, by the way. Number 4. How do you get from a decimal to a fraction? On the count of 3, this is the process. 1, 2, 3.
Read the decimal with place value and reduce.
Do you always have to reduce?
No.
Only if needed. Okay, number 5. How do you get from a decimal to a percent? 1, 2, 3.
Multiply the decimal by 100 and add the percent sign.
Not too difficult, right? Number 6. How do you get from a percent to a decimal? 1, 2, 3.
Divide by 100.
Number 7. How do you get from a percent to a fraction? This is the tricky one. I'm going to not ask you, I'm going to tell you on this one. To get from a percent to a fraction, you read this number as 23 what? Now I'm asking you. 23. Excuse me.
20.
Read the percent sign as per 100. So you're going to read this as 23 per 100, which is 23 over 100, right? How do you read this if you want to convert from a percent to a fraction? On the count of 3, I want you to read this using our strategy of how we read the percent sign. 1, 2, 3.
23 per 100.
Can you have a decimal in a fraction?
No.
No. So how? Someone explain this in their own words. How do I get my decimal point out of this fraction? Sophia.
You move the decimal point to the right one.
So if you move the decimal point to the right one place, what does it mean you're multiplying by? 10, right? Every time you multiply by a power of 10, you move one spot. So if you do that to the top, you have to do that to the bottom. And if I move this decimal point over one place, I have to add another 0, which is why we have that third 0 there, right? Okay, got it? Okay, and then down below, number 8, we have our applications, and this is how we find scores on a test, which probably will be an extra credit point for your test coming up sometime in the next week or so.